So I'm back for another Montagne-themed rant, but as a friend of mine called it, a monologue. I've been losing my mind lately because it's become so evident that our current commander-in-chief has lost his goddamn mind. And the only people who are not accepting that, obviously, are going to be the ones who are his most ardent supporters, and also those whose livelihood depends on him. That would be those in Congress who are Republicans. Now, I'm going to start by saying I don't think all Republicans are bad, especially those who vote Republican. So this is an anti-Republican or anti-conservative or anti-anything conversation that I would like to have into this camera right here. This conversation I'd like to have has to do with these videos that highlight Secretary of State Marco Rubio and our current Commander-in-Chief Donald J. Trump.
Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you'd have a much different country.
We have to take care of one thing: military protection. The United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. It's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things.
The issue at hand is something both of them have made very abundantly clear. They don't give a shit about us, the American people. So here is my take on that situation for what it's worth in my 2 cents. And everybody has them. Mine's not any more valid than anybody else's. So if you're willing to go on this journey with me, I'm going to take you there. I think it was 1990, blah, 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 late 90s, maybe early 2000s, not sure when. I had a conversation with someone close to me, and I won't mention who it is because I don't want to throw them under the bus, but let's just say they are related to some degree. The conversation was as follows. The only thing that the government has to do is military. That's it. I explained maybe we should do some social programs, and the response was, well, that's socialism. Now this was, I'm probably going to say the 1990s, late 1990s. And it just dawned upon me after watching Marco Rubio and Donald Trump that this is the governing philosophy of anybody who's not only MAGA, but is a Republican. I thought that was his individual feeling about this. But no, it's just basically across the line. If you vote Republican, you just think the only reason that we pay taxes, or the only thing the federal government should do, the only thing, is military. Everything else, either the states or charity, individuals who want to help out with their own money. This philosophy also maybe applies to libertarians as well. I'm not really quite sure. I'm not a libertarian. You'd have to talk to a libertarian about that. But this brand of conservatism or republicanism or free market capitalism basically states in their assessment that federal government is not responsible for anything other than the military. Everything else is socialism. Everything else is socialism. Donald Trump stated that we should throw all of the additional money for things like childcare or Medicare or Medicaid, which are federal programs, to the states. We could go way back to the Civil War for the reason that some people say we fought it was because of states' rights. So this concept of the states as opposed to the federal government. So there's the federalists who believe that everything comes from the federal government, and those that believe that it's states' rights and that it should be the states, as if each state is its own country, as if it's not the United States of America, it's the individual states of America, and the federal government should probably be abolished, and we should get rid of all federal taxes. And But unless it's for the military, which governs all of the states. Each state and their militia isn't going to cut it. You need the federal government to protect all of the sovereign nation of the United States of America. I disagree with that thoroughly, and so I'm a socialist, apparently. So in socialism, or in somewhere like Cuba, the government has all the money, and they supply housing and medicine and everything else, not private, but through the government. And they basically take care of their people, which leads to in some people's minds, laziness and people not wanting to work and people just basically mooching off the government is the concept. Democratic socialism or social democracies, as I understand, is you still have a capitalist structure, you still have private enterprises, but the government takes care of those elements that are not in the private sector. And in that regard, it would be in some places, housing, not all, others, healthcare, and then, of course, all the infrastructure, which is essentially what we have here in the United States. In this regard, Donald Trump was saying, we give all of that power individually to the state.
You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare.
And then he said, they have to raise their taxes. They have to raise their taxes. A Republican said they have to raise their taxes. And then we can cut their taxes to help them out. What? Cut whose taxes? The state's taxes? It's so convoluted, it makes no sense, but it's basically him saying the quiet part out loud.
They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country. But all these little things, all these little scams that have taken place,
which made me hearken back to this conversation I had. The government should only take care of the military. And that's the mindset. But it's shared by all of them. Now, I can't find maybe 3 what you'd call liberals or left of center or leftists. I'm not going to use the word progressives, I'll just say lefties that agree on anything, that have the same viewpoint about any issue, I don't think. But it seems like with conservatives, there is sort of a lockstep thought process. And they fall in line with this philosophy. Government, at least the federal government, which they probably think you should abolish anyway, and it should all be states. But the federal government has to take care of one thing and one thing only, military. That's where all our money should go. And everything else can just go to the states and fuck off because it's not our responsibility. It's not his responsibility. It's not Marco Rubio's responsibility until it comes to the Iranian people or the Iraqi people. If only they just spent their money on their people instead of building up their military and buying weapons, probably would be a different situation right now. He said that out loud into a camera, and then it was projected all over the world for people to see. That only applies in Iran, but not here. Unless you're thinking that, well, the states need to do it, so it's the same thing. The federal government be damned. It's the not United States of America. It's the individualistic states of North America, excluding Canada. Or Canada will be our 51st state. And we can spread our love to them and bring them into the fold, even though they have healthcare for their people and they're looked at as a, I guess, socialist country, basically in line with Cuba and China and North Korea. I don't buy into that. And I don't know how many people I know do, but I do know that on the opposite side of the aisle from which I stand, they do. And here's the conundrum we find ourselves in. Right now, we have no idea why we're at war with Iran. because we have about 50 different reasons. It's regime change. It's not regime change. It's to get rid of their nuclear program. It's not just to get rid of their nuclear program. It's to get all their enriched uranium. It's not to get rid of their enriched uranium. It's to take their oil. It's to blow up their infrastructure. You blow up bridges. You blow up electricity plants. You blow up their energy source. And that is a war crime. It's a war crime. When you hit civilian populated areas and you take out things that civilians need to live, that is a war crime. You can attack military bases, you can strike individuals in the military, you can take out commanders, fine. If you are in an active war, which apparently we're not, it's just an excursion. If you're in an active war, that's what you take out. Military. This is civilian. Any active aggression against civilian infrastructure is an act of war. It's a war crime. According to the Geneva Convention, which we've pretty much thrown out, it doesn't matter. International law doesn't matter anymore. And the United States government has committed so many war crimes over the years, from Vietnam all the way up to the current day. We have committed massive war crimes with each president. With each president, nobody's off the hook. Obama committed war crimes. George W. Bush committed war crimes. Democrat or Republican, they've committed war crimes. Obama did horrible things and screwed up Syria completely. So I am no fan of Barack Obama's war crimes. And to some degree, George W. Bush, and yes, before he died, Dick Cheney should have gone to jail. They should have been in prison and spent the rest of their lives in prison. They committed war crimes. And right now, Donald Trump is admitting he wants to commit war crimes, but there's no rule, there's no law. There was, they made the movie Nuremberg, and they made it twice, and we're all proud of that fact, but now there wouldn't be a Nuremberg trial. Some people think that's January 6th was a treasonous act. He's never going to spend a day in jail, and we know this. We all know this is the fact. We all know it. But if you have an issue with your health care, don't complain if you are on the right side of things or if you voted for Donald Trump. Don't complain about your health care. Don't complain about gas prices. Don't complain about anything because you wanted this. You asked for it because everything else is socialism. And you probably agree with it. And you probably think, oh, it'll just go down naturally. The prices will just go down. Of course you think that they will, because he said COVID would just go away before Easter in 2020. Now, far be it from me to call out anyone's political affiliation, because personally, that's your call. Whatever you think gets you through the night is all right with me. I might not agree with you, but hey, viva la différence. Look, we need a world in which people have differing points of view. We need a world where it's not just an echo chamber of your own political ideology. I think we should live in a world where we have differing opinions, because if not, and it's just groupthink, it's pretty boring for one, but also that doesn't lead to any kind of consensus. That doesn't lead to any solutions. It just leads to people thinking that their way is right, that their way is the only way. And I don't subscribe to that. I don't say that my own progressive point of view is the right one to have. It's just mine and others who share it. But in this instance, Marco Rubio justified the progressive stance. And then Donald Trump said the quiet part out loud. The Republicans, certain conservatives, possibly libertarians, think the only thing the government should do monetarily and where we should use our money is for military only. Where's that gotten us?